Welcome to Evolution Greenworks, episode 27. And we are talking with Todd Gudz over at Westman Solar Solutions.ca. He is one of the owners, and I'm very pleased to have him on board. He's over in the Brandon region, Southwest Manitoba. Hello.
Hello, guys, everyone out there.
It's very exciting. I've been talking about interviewing you for a while, nailing
Yeah.
this down, and you guys got some really cool stuff going on down in Westman, Manitoba. Southwest Manitoba. So in that part of the province, basically you're servicing all the way up into Russell and right down to the border, right?
Yep. The southwestern Manitoba, yeah, well, within even 100 kilometers of Brandon, where we're based out of, I think
Wow.
we're dealing with a trading area of about 200 to 250,000 people. So,
Holy
um,
smokes. So you
yeah,
got quite a wide range that you do service. Excellent.
yeah.
So, and what type of installations are you doing these days?
Well, mostly residential and a little bit of farm, uh, ground mount systems, roof mount systems. Uh, we got battery backups and battery storage systems as well.
Are you starting to see people asking about the battery backups like almost all the time now, right?
Yeah, it's getting definitely more common,
Yeah.
especially with a lot of people knowing that Manitoba Hydro rates are going to be jumping up. The current contracts for Manitoba Hydro to buy back isn't super attractive. So if you could store more and use it, after the sun goes down, opposed to selling it back at maybe only a third of the rate of,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yeah. Who
so
wants to give their power away? Keep
yeah,
it.
yeah, and
Keep
of
it and
course,
use it, right?
and like anything else, or I mean, especially batteries, as everyone knows, battery technology is always getting so much better, and it's just trying to find that right time to just jump in there, but
And we
yeah, that
just got some amazing information. Is it okay if I share it?
yeah, go for it.
Okay, so Solarc, which is one of the inverters that we use for AC coupling, has now launched a 5 kilowatt Solarc. But guess what it does? And I know Todd and I talked about this, but it actually takes 9.6 kilowatts of AC couple, which means that even if you buy a 5 kilowatt with a battery backup, it's still producing the same 9.6 from your microinverters. So if you had a solar installation, you now want batteries, we can do that cheaper.
Yeah, yeah, it's a
That
great new
is
product.
amazing.
Yeah,
Outrageous.
yeah,
I mean, like, so for all those people who got solar before that have been calling, I know we've been hearing from them, and I'm sure you have. They actually can do this better now, so that it's a little bit cheaper. So that's pretty exciting because the Solarc has so many features, and of course, it has even the phone app, huh?
yeah. The
And
programmability and
just
the
amazing.
yeah, like I mean, you've got the backup of the battery, but also then that secondary backup to hook in an auto start generator, which is really nice. So
So here's the phone app. I'm just going to see if I can line this up because this is really hard, guys. Lining it up to my camera. See this? It tells me exactly what's going on. Now it's dark here, but my panels are actually still producing 48 watts. I don't know why, but maybe there's the
what a
moon out
start!
there. But as you can see, it shows the lines. So right now I'm actually supporting the batteries in a float charge a little bit from my grid. And then I can actually flip this over and go start producing and taking just from my batteries. And that's all by program. So it's going to flip over soon because I have time of day programmed into mine. So I have it. I love it. I switched from a Magnum, guys. I have AC as well, and I have DC coupling. So it's pretty exciting. And it can take, and I was talking to Solarc today, even in fact, it can take even a little more than that. So let's say you had like 11 kilowatts of AC couple. So that could be microinverters, that could be a Fronius, that can be whatever. With your AC inverter, and then you can run it right into the AC feed for AC couple on these machines. So whether or not you get the 5 or if you get the 12K,
Yeah.
you can do it with either one in the same amount, which is really exciting. And they said, like I said, that 9.6 is the documented, but they said they can do a little more because they know that the solar is, it's about efficiency and it's not really going to produce, the rated, like you're going to see just a little bit less, right? So
Yeah. No,
so
great product
that's
that's going to definitely allow for a lot of flexibility down the road, especially if people with the changing of battery technology for new products that are coming out that are a smaller package with even more power. And people will
and
say it's
cheaper.
and cheaper.
And
Yeah,
cheaper.
yeah.
Like the
So
prices have really come down. Prices have come down on the solar itself,
yeah,
making these systems just so much more viable. And now we've got all these funding things. Hey,
yeah.
so let's talk about that. How has the Greener Home program been for you?
Well, there's been a lot of interest, and we all know that the problem is with the energy auditors, which gives me
Correct?
back up. But I've actually talked to two people within my circle, a number of people about it, that actually are taking the program at Red River College right now. Just in some passing
Nice.
conversations, they say, "Hey, thanks for the tip. I think this is a great opportunity." Um, so anyways, yeah. So
Excellent.
I think there's going to be a lot of people that are getting the education, and I'm thinking that by the start of next year, they'll the floodgates that are quite full right now will start trickling through, and I think there's going to be people definitely be able to get
Which
their
means
audits done.
that this should be a fairly quick process as this goes along. And
Yeah.
there is a $40,000 interest-free loan that is coming as well, with CMHC. So that's also going to impact our companies as well as yours. But also, I think it's going to impact all the way through the sectors because that encompasses like insulation, doors, windows, whatever
Yes.
for your upgrade.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing because if you can reduce your primary cost of living,
Oh yeah. And that's well,
you
of course,
know,
everyone is all over the news, and with Canada's commitment to lower greenhouse and the rest of the world,
yes.
it's not going to go any away anytime soon. Yeah, I think the whole landscape in terms of how our houses are producing energy, how cars you just start seeing more and more electric vehicles. What better combination you could plug in your car to your house that's solar powered, that you basically got a solar powered car really when it comes down to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how are you guys doing like advertising wise with the pandemic and everything? Like how are you guys faring with that?
Yeah, we've it's been mostly word of mouth. We obviously have our own website. We've had some other business ventures that kind of are intertwined in terms of people knowing who we are. Um, but the other thing I think is, with people being stuck at home, there's been a lot of COVID spending. People, using the money that they used to spend traveling, taking their kids to hockey and everything. People saying, "Hey, we may not get anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Let's spend it on our house." And with always people knowing that Manitoba rates are going to go up, and people seeing the news, it's not only a good investment, but also it's a feel good thing to try to help all these crazy situations in terms of weather patterns and intensities are they all seem to be pointed at global warming, and I think this is all just little things we can do, and I think people are all just trying to make this world
Well,
better.
and I think if you can fortify your energy. So like I know for instance in my house, with now my solar, because I ditched my Magnum and I went all in,
Yeah,
got my solar, I can run my house off grid.
yeah,
So like if we have power failures, which I could before too, but now I can do it all of it versus part of it.
yeah,
Because I have a bigger inverter now. But
yeah,
what's really nice, I think, is the peace of mind. Like in my case, like a lot of times I work from home. We do these shows from right from my home office, right?
yeah,
And communication is really important to me, but we don't actually have cell service out here, so everything is like Wi-Fi towers and internet for us.
yeah.
And without that, we're lost.
Exactly.
So it's really gratifying almost when all the neighbors are leaving and I look and I realize that the hydro is out, but ours just seamlessly was working from our batteries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, and that's when I have that realization. I'll have to look at the stove because I haven't rewired that over to the other place yet. I can now. I can actually put it on
Oh,
the off-grid side now if I want to in my essential loads panel.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, that was a mouthful.
Mouthful.
Anyways, yeah. So, but I mean, I think that's pretty amazing. I know you have also got solar. You've got microinverters on your house right now, right?
Yeah, I've got a 12 kilowatt system on my house.
That's pretty big.
I'm going to be not too far down the road. I think, just from what I've learned on the solar, I'm thinking that there could be a little bit of retrofitting involved in the future. I don't have any battery storage as of now. I was one of the early adopters, so I got a pretty good contract in place still with hydro. But still, I think, there's going to be a sweet spot where I think it's going to be worth the investment, and just having that control and programmability is pretty amazing, sir.
It really is. And just having that little bit of backup. I know it's so important. Like think about Portage La Prairie. For one whole week, they did not have power.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the gas stations too. I
Yes.
mean, all of them should have battery backup. I'm not even sure why it would even be a question for any company.
Yeah.
I was in Winnipeg last week, and you know what? The hydro went out, and I went into the McDonald's there. I was gonna get a coffee, and this was just after the power had come back on. It'd only been on for about a half an hour, and they couldn't serve me coffee. You want to know why?
Because they had no power.
The PLCs take 3 hours to reboot. They could serve nobody right in the middle of the day when they had their power back.
I got it.
So even in those situations, you don't even have to go with a massive one. You can go with like just something small that keeps that PLCs going so that they don't see the power disruption. And then when the power does come back up, so you don't have to back up everything.
No.
It really could be exactly whatever the company is needing,
Yeah.
Like for a gas station, you would want to do at least one pump, and you would want to have cash registers and internet and lights and things like that.
Yeah, even a couple of the LED lights. Yeah, they don't draw much.
No, exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be massive. So it's definitely doable. And I'm sure you're out there, talking to people all the time on this now. Mm-hmm. So what are your plans coming into spring? Like there's the ag loan will have more money back in it for the funding in April. Is your plan to hit up that sounds terrible. Is your plan to talk to the farmers in your local area?
We're definitely a pretty big farming community, and know a lot of the farmers rurally. I think the big thing of it is education of especially some of the new programs and some of the financing that's available. I really just don't think that there's been enough education to the farmers of the incentives and the long-term investment, especially a lot of these farmers pass down from generation to generation. It's a great long-term investment for the family farm.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that after this commercial. But I also wanted to get into how long you guys have been around and all of that great stuff too. So right after our sponsor, Evolve
Why
Green.
Go Solar?
Huh?
It's not just for the environment, although that is a great reason. Did you know that when you install your new solar plant, you are only paying 7 cents per kilowatt? That's right, 7 cents. Solar is now cheaper than buying electricity, 25% cheaper than buying it from Manitoba Hydro. Going solar is different from any other investment you will make in your life, as you will retain the value on your roof. Solar does not depreciate like other investments do, and unlike a GIC, your investment will start paying you from day one. And when you choose to sell your home, well, you will get the cost of the solar back, as this investment rarely depreciates. When choosing solar, look for high-end products like microinverters with 10 to 25-year warranties. Make sure your installation is done by a professional. We are Evolve Green, and we are celebrating 12 years in the industry and can help you put your roof to work for you. Ask also about your options like battery backup for when the grid fails, and how about solar heaters to get rid of snow buildup? Are you a farm or a business? Did you know that your solar is a 100% tax write-off? Yes, that's right. You can write off all the cost for the solar in the year you purchased it. This is a perfect investment for any business. In Manitoba, the portion a resident customer sells to hydro is also a tax write-off in the first year. Farms pay no PST on solar systems. We build, design, and supply the best in solar power for both on and off the grid. For experts you can trust, call or email Evolve Green today. 1-866-5-EVOLVE or support@evolvegreen.ca.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, we had to get that AETI in because if you are also into solar, you might want to learn about solar, and you can take courses at AETI. Welcome back, Todd. How are you doing?
Still good. Yes.
So, how long has Westman Solar Solutions been around?
We've been established pretty much right around 5.5 years now. 2017 of this, spring of 2017. Yeah, so it would have been 5 years this past spring. So, wait, I'm not doing the math right there. 4 years this past spring.
4 years.
I forgot
Okay.
we lost a year there maybe with COVID. So
Yes. So I think a lot of people lost a year with COVID.
yeah.
And still are in some cases. It's really sad to see what's happening with family businesses all across Manitoba and the smaller regions. But unfortunately, none of the support systems really were there for supporting any kind of a family business. Whether it be, you own your location or whatever it is, right? There was nothing for you. But having said that, things are getting better now. And I know things have been, running along pretty, I would say every week we're seeing improvements in the environment for solar and battery backup. But I found it's so interesting that so many people are talking about it first.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while, but now they're saying straight up, I want to talk about battery backup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely more part of the conversation. Even just conversations about solar in general now. So much in the news about the environmental impact of decreasing our greenhouse gases, and this is such a easy thing to do. And I think people are just and also investments as a whole are seen to be very volatile with things are in the world, and especially in southwestern Manitoba, maybe not quite as good in southeastern where you are, but it's still southwestern Manitoba is one of the top places for solar collection in all of Canada.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're seeing an uptick here too. We're seeing it is. We're just outside of that, so we're in the second zone. But I'm just saying that we're seeing an uptick in our immediate area over in the southeast, and it's a little bit different environment here. But I am finding that battery backup is a part of almost every conversation now. It's pretty interesting. People are starting to understand the value of having it.
Right.
Another thing I'm seeing, though, and I don't know if you're seeing this, so I'm going to ask you the question: are you seeing more families wanting to go off grid, like be totally not grid connected?
There's definitely been those conversations. When you come down to the end of the conversation, some of the big things, like especially the big energy drawers, like drawing equipment such as stoves, dryers, to make it really possible. A lot of times it's easier if you retrofit those into like a propane, because there's such a high draw. I think there's some people that are wanting just to get some nice remote properties, and if hydro's not even near there, then it's so expensive that it's something that's an option that is not only a great investment, but you save on trying to bring the cost of hydro in. For a lot of the people that already have hydro that were kind of liked it, thought the idea of being off the grid was great, they still don't mind that as their final safety net. But with the solar system and the programmability and being able to monitor that, maybe a initial installation after that first year and know exactly where you need to be, you could technically almost be net zero, but have that final safety net if something failed, that Manitoba Hydro is there as your final backup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing, especially with the programmability that's available in the new systems. It's just incredible what you can do, really.
Yeah.
You can virtually put in almost every scenario, and you can start with no batteries. You can add the batteries later. You can add them now. You can do time of day usage, which I thought originally was, when I first heard about the time of day usage features, I didn't quite understand. I thought it was for, how they have time of day in Ontario, where it's more expensive at certain times of day.
Yes.
Well, it can be used for that, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing it does is it tells your batteries when to function.
Mm-hmm.
So when do you charge batteries? When don't you charge batteries? When do you draw from your batteries? So that's kind of the capability that it's talking about. Also, it has the capability to send to your main panel energy, but not sell to grid.
Right.
You don't have to sell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You can charge batteries, use your power, and then it'll just regulate.
Yeah.
Or you can then sell to the grid, or you can sell, maintain your batteries, but sell 100% to the grid otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So it can all go that direction.
Yeah.
And that just depends on how you're doing your write-offs, if you're a business or not, and all those good things. So
and that's a big education piece too, is the 100% write-off. A lot of people still don't believe that, but it follows.
It's true.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So I think the big thing with all this is solar's been around. I think when I was in kindergarten, I had one on my calculator. So it's not like the technology is new, but it's just it's gotten so much better, and people just don't realize some of the incentives or the tax incentives that you could take, so which really brings down the investment to a very, very good one. So.
Oh yeah, no, solar's been around a long time. The only thing that's happened is the technology's gotten better. It's become more efficient, way more reliable. And it's kind of like the tortoise and the hare with some of the technologies. It's the way I like to equate it anyways. So, the turbines, for instance, are like the hare. They're running, they're fast, they give you lots of energy, but it's all pinch pointed. And the tortoise is the guy who's going to make it to the end of that race, right? Because he's just slow and sure, and that's solar. And I think it's getting faster though. It's like they're starting to incorporate an Energizer bunny inside there. You know what I mean? With the technology that's coming down the pike, even some of the efficiencies.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about the efficiency. I was going to say that, like the solar panels that are pretty standard size, 1 meter by 2 meters, that are on my roof. The same ones look pretty much the same, but they pretty much are producing 50% more energy, and that's
they are
in only 4 years. So just think of where things are going with this. So you'd be able to use less of a footprint and produce 50%. And
I've had people say, "Well, why didn't it go that fast before?" And I'm like, because now, just like the battery technologies are changing to solid state, which is coming. And it's going to be amazing. But the thing is, why is that happening now? Well, first of all, battery technology was quashed. So anytime somebody came up with it, it was bought out. It was bought out mainly by car dealerships. I mean, car manufacturers, because they didn't want this technology known.
Exactly.
They wanted status quo. So a lot of this stuff existed. It just never got beyond a certain point, because you have to have money to get through the testings. And so a lot of times they ended up selling out, or were made to sell out, whichever, because they ran out of money. and sometimes, I mean, it's pretty hard to turn away the check as well. I mean, you
Yeah.
work very hard for something, you do something really good, and they tell you whatever you want to hear
Yeah.
in order to get you to sell it, right?
Exactly.
But that's now turned around. Now it's the lid is off the can. Everybody
Yeah.
knows what's going on. Everybody knows it needs to change. So the money is being poured into solar technologies. I mean, at some point, it's going to be paintable.
Yeah.
We're going to be painting people. That's pretty
Yeah.
interesting when you think about it. You know, how are you going to put up your solar? Well, we're just going to paint that sucker on with the leads. You know what I mean? And I have it actually. I have actually a little sample jar of conductible. Basically, it's like solar paint, if you will. I have a little jar of it because I did a crowdfunding thingy. So, you know, so I mean, and it also have a little bit of graphene as well. I love R&D. I love getting my hands dirty.
Yeah.
I did a show once with the kids doing aluminum salt, well, it's like chloride batteries.
Okay.
And the charge held for 3 or 4 weeks.
Jeez.
From the chemical reaction. Yes. And that was with a graphite inside. Graphite, aluminum, and chloride. Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Good science fair experiment.
It really was. Yeah, it was basically solar for kids, right? Batteries for kids. Yeah. So we like to do different stuff like that. We've done ground loops. We've done coils, Tesla coils. We've done graphene rubs on like plastic, and then put it in the sun and measure the differences. So I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store when it comes to this stuff. I love to do that. I just don't always have time, but it's nice. I love playing with it.
Keeps you young.
Yeah, it does. So tell me about, how did you guys get into this? Because you guys have DB sprinklers. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm actually a graduate of civil engineering, and when I graduated, just before I went to school, I had an opportunity to get involved with a business that already had been established for a couple of years, D&B Sprinklers. So it was a small business at the time, and just as time went on, people started spending more time in their yard, spending more money on some of the new landscape products that were available. And I think it was our 40th anniversary as a business just this past year, so or just last year. So we've been established for quite a while, and well,
congratulations! Not everybody makes it to 40. Hey.
No. Anyways, my business partner, Jeff, he really had a house that, he always thought would be a great spot for solar. Of course, one side of his house totally up on a hill facing south, no trees anywhere. So he liked the idea, and he actually hired a contractor to do the work. And then once he kind of started thinking about it, he said, "Todd, no one's really doing this in this area." And so we decided that, hey, you know what? Why don't we take advantage of this? We'll start small. We're kind of saying, hey, it's another greener solution. Kind of like taking off that we've made grass green, and this is a green.
So this is actually, we'll just let you guys in on a little bit. This is how we met.
Exactly.
So back then, we helped out with building permits and the single line drawings and getting you guys going there. And it was a fun experience. You guys were starting something brand new out there, and I think it did really well, considering, you know what I mean? Like, it's always hard to start up, especially when there were so many companies that jumped on for that rebate program. Yeah, yes. Exactly. So I found that customers didn't really know who to trust or where to go. And to be fair, your company is still around. And a lot of those companies that said they were experts on a lot of things are absolutely gone.
Right.
So it's always good to do your research. I think in your case, if the customers had seen that you guys also have DB Sprinklers, which is a 40-year company, they might have, if they just do your due diligence with the companies you're dealing with out there, guys, because honestly, these folks, Todd and Jeff, they've been around for 40 years in DB sprinklers. So they're a long-standing company. And now, of course, I have Westman Solar solutions as well. And I think that's a very important piece that people, you want to do it right, do it the first time right, and you don't have to redo it down the road. Because one of the things we've been working on with numerous customers is redoing systems or service because other companies are now gone, and it costs you more money at the end of the day. So try to choose your companies wisely out there. I'm not saying go with us, go with him. I'm saying do your due diligence, look around, see what the reputation of the company is, and also just try to establish for yourself what's a good system and what's not a good system. And I think that's a good policy all the way. I know I always told my customers you should get 3 quotes actually. I think that it's a good policy, but don't take the lowest quote, investigate them.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of moving parts to everyone's
absolutely
system, and every system is very unique because of, I guess, whether you have the room to do a ground mount or just the way your roof lines are, and just what your energy usage of your house is, what you're taking advantage of some of the incentives. So there's so many different little factors that can, lead to what we feel is the best fit system for your house. And it may not be necessarily like it's going to cover 100% of your solar or your energy requirements, but also, we're not in the business just to sell, say, we're just going to cover your whole roof with solar panels. We also want to take a look at the best return, the best, system that if you're looking at expandability and changes, to be allowed down in the future. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of factors, and I think we need to, whenever you talk to any of the contractors, you need to ask lots of questions. You want to make sure they're answered, and they make sense, and then also look for referrals too, because if it's been a customer that's been taken care of, and then they're going to say the right things, or they should anyway. So we're lucky at Brandon, and in a small region like you, different than maybe even Winnipeg, word spreads fast in some of the smaller communities for contractors or businesses that are not doing what they say, or following up on their workmanship and stuff like that. So no, I think meeting Lorena and a combination of us knowing our area and being reputable, and then taking a lot of the expertise from Evolve Green and combining it into what we're trying to do out here is a great combination. Plus, we're kind of two totally separate sides of the lower part of the province, so we
absolutely
represent. Better probably within a 2-hour drive, we'll be at any point of the southern part of the province. So
absolutely, I totally agree with you. I think it's great experience. I think you do an excellent job with project management, and helping the customer through the process, which is a huge piece here of understanding us, answering questions. I love it when customers come with these great questions, then they understand much better what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, and what does this mean for them, right? So I always like to see that. It's a huge investment in some cases, especially with some of our farms where they're doing a larger system. So I firmly believe that you really got to watch yourself. I mean, you wouldn't just go build a house with a builder that you check out a few of them, right? You'd want to know that they did something good, right? So same when you're buying your car, you're not just going to buy a car. Quite often you're going to look it up. You're going to say, what's the reviews on this car, right? So it's the same thing. You want to make sure that you are with a reputable company. And of course, the technologies are wonderful. We've got some, the Greener Home program. Please do sign up and get that in the works for yourself. It's not just good for solar, and they'll give you a full report when you're done your energy evaluation, so you'll know exactly where your house stands. So lowering your primary costs it should be your primary concern right now, because let's face it, if Manitoba Hydro privatizes, what happens then? We'll be looking at probably a scenario like Saskatchewan. It is 14.22 cents per kilowatt there. Can you afford another 5 cents a kilowatt? Can you? You know, how's that going to be on your budget? So that's something that everybody has to be concerned about. They've already started privatizing pieces of hydro. And, you know, how long is the Public Utilities Board going to be involved? So getting involved with your solar while the rebates and different grants are in place and taking advantage of those, definitely a great way to go. And of course, this grant also has some of monies available, so up to $1,000 for your battery backup.
Perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
So-
the other thing to mention too is there's I think $600 allotted to go towards the energy audit as well, which is nice.
Yes,
so-
absolutely. It doesn't cover the whole thing, but you know, I think it's still, you know,
good
it
portion.
covers. Yeah, it's a fair portion of it.
Yes.
But what you get is an amazing report. So it'll tell you if you need weather stripping. It'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll give you an energy rating, which goes right on your electrical panel. So it votes to the resale part of your home.
Mhm.
It will become pivotal within the next 5 years for the real estate side of this.
I think so.
People are going to be looking for those energy numbers, just
Mhm.
like when they're buying fridges.
Yep.
You know, it's people are going to understand them better and they're going to be asking.
Yep.
You know, and when the home inspectors go, they're going to be looking. This is going to
Yeah.
be a part of the resaleability of your home. So it's going to vote to how much it's worth.
Yeah.
And solar, of course, you know, the value is higher anyway because the primary cost of the home is much lower. So I wanted to thank you so much for coming on today. I'm going to leave you guys with a CMM Grave, who is one of our sponsors, and then we're going to be out for the evening. But welcome to Evolve Green and Evolution Greenworks. And it was really nice interviewing Todd Gudz with Westman Solar Solutions. Please check them out at www.westmansolarsolutions.ca. Give Todd a call at 204-726-3286. All
Great.
right. Thanks, Todd, for coming on the show. I appreciate
No problem. It was great chatting with you, Lorena. You have a great night.
Excellent. Well, that's it for episode 27. We'll see you next Thursday at 8 o'clock. And
At CM Engrave, we create more than just trophies, medals, and signs. We create time. Time for family. Time for growing your business. Time for the moments that make you, you. With more than 30 years experience for all your engraving needs. CM Engrave.